The show has ended and you're tasked with getting your celebrity home safely. You take the back door, but what you don't know is a mass of fans have figured out your escape route. They surround you and the star they adore. You don't only have to protect this person from being overwhelmed by the adoring fans, but there's always a chance that there's a crazy stalker skulking somewhere in the melee. There might be someone who has a grudge against this person. Maybe they took offense to a certain tweet and are seeking revenge. You're like a machine, scanning everyone around while ushering your star to the car. Anything could happen and you're willing to put yourself in front of a bullet if need be. One thing is for sure, you should be getting a nice pay packet for this job. But how well are bodyguards really paid? Let's find out. Number 11. Regular bodyguards. Some bodyguards will tell you that their clients aren't always that well known. In some cases, a person will hire a bodyguard because it makes them look important. It's an esteem thing. These bodyguards are still going to have to be trained in things like crowd control, weapons use, martial arts, and have a very good awareness of what's going on around them. But if they're starting out and are hired by someone who just wants to show off, they'll likely get something in the region of $50 an hour. We found a company in the USA that a bodyguard could be hired from by a private client. That client wasn't famous or anything, but wanted some protection at a funeral where there were going to be a lot of emotional people. The bodyguard for that job was paid $75 an hour. Then we found another case when the Super Bowl was on and people working with the NFL were all staying at a resort. It wasn't likely that anyone would cause trouble at the resort, but 2 bodyguards were hired. The cost for each bodyguard was around $150 an hour, and they had to stay on site all day. Let's also remember that if those bodyguards are hired from a company, then the company takes its cut. So not all that money is actually going to the person who is guarding. Word on the street is that if you choose a company that offers very low rates, you'll get what you pay for. Still, if you just want to show off a little bit, a $20 an hour bodyguard works. Now let's look at some of the big hitters. Number 10. Protecting the president. The people who ensure the safety of the president, as well as the vice president, former presidents, the families of all those people, and also heads of other countries visiting from certain countries, work for something called the United States Secret Service. You know, those guys that always seem to be wearing sunglasses? They do a lot more than just stand around at public events and monitor crowds. But that is one part of their job. You're going to need a lot of training for this position, and we don't need to tell you that your background check must be spotless. There are a lot of positions, so wages vary. But let's say you're one of the most trusted agents and at the top of your game. If that's you, you could be getting a yearly salary of $197,300. Number 9. The B-list bodyguard. So let's say you've been hired by some dude that isn't exactly on the front cover of Gossip magazine every month, but is an up-and-comer. These people might not really need a bodyguard, but again, in some cases they might like all the attention. It's likely that this B-lister will be paying in the region of $100 an hour for this bodyguard. Sometimes those people just want to create a buzz around them, and there's likely not much of a threat to them. Sometimes someone has said something on social media, and that has made them worried. We found a guy who had a part in a TV series No Ordinary Family, and he said he hired a personal bodyguard because of something that had been said to him on social media. It wasn't because he was worried about getting mobbed by fans. Number 8. Pretty famous. Then you've got the people who are very well known but perhaps can't be said to be in the spotlight that much anymore. We found an Israeli bodyguard who said he worked for the rock legend Ozzy Osbourne. He said he teamed up with other former Special Forces bodyguards and they got to talking about how much they were all paid. He said none of them were hired by the most famous people out there, but people like Ozzy, who's still pretty damn famous. After that chat, the guy said it seemed that the average wage between them was something like $5,000 a month, but he said that was many years ago. Maybe it's more like $10,000 a month these days. But he also said that if the person was more famous, it's more likely they'd be paid in the region of $30,000 a month. Number 7. Bollywood stars. We looked at some of Bollywood's biggest names, including the man sometimes called the King of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan. He has a bodyguard named Ravi Singh, and that guy gets a lot of cash. For his protection of the Bollywood star, it pays him about $350,000 a year. We found another bodyguard named Shira, and he was paid something in the region of $300,000 a year. This is the man that took care of Justin Bieber when he was on tour in India. Number 6. Pascal De Vere. This man and his company actually filed for bankruptcy, but that was after the woman he was protecting, one Kim Kardashian, was robbed in Paris. She later sued him for $6.1 million. The thieves got away with around $10 million worth of jewelry. This guy had been the bodyguard for a lot of very famous people, but nowhere can we see what he and his company were getting paid. We're going to guess and say that he was paid in the region of $500,000 a year. Number 5. 50 Cent. 50 Cent is no stranger to danger, and back in 2009 he said he spent $20,000 a week on security at his home, but that included not just personnel, but all the technology that went with it. One of 50 Cent's security staff said that the place was so secure it was like a military base. We expect the head of 50 Cent security was getting a very big paycheck, but can't find the exact number. Now, for the really big hitters. Number 4. Billionaire businessmen. If you've got billions in the bank, you can afford to spend big bucks on bodyguards. Howard Schultz, who was the chairman and CEO of Starbucks, is worth over $4 billion. He paid $511,079 back in 2009 for his personal security that year. Such big six-figure sums are not unusual for billionaires, but there are others who spent a lot more on their security. Number 3. Michael Dell. At around the same time as Schultz was spending big on security, the company we all know called Dell was spending a lot more on protecting their man, Michael Dell. His around-the-clock security was costing the company a whopping $1,164,625 a year. People thought it was maybe a little over the top, but the company released a statement saying, "The board believes that Mr. Dell's personal safety and security are of vital importance." If you think that's a lot, it's about to get ridiculous. Number 2. Larry Ellison. This co-founder of Oracle is one of the richest people in the world with a fortune of around $70 billion, so he can certainly afford to spend a bit on personal security. The kind of security we're talking about here is not just big and burly men that follow you around in public, but about experts making sure security technology is running smoothly in the home. In 2016, it was reported that Ellison was spending $1.6 million a year on his personal security. This was pretty much the same amount as the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, was spending on his personal security. The problem with giving you names of bodyguards is that the men in their companies don't disclose much information about who they're paying and what exactly they're paying for. We just know the numbers because of company filings. Not all big names in tech spend such big amounts. The CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, apparently has a security budget of just $224,000 a year. Number 1. Mark Zuckerberg. We guess you knew this name was coming, and we can tell you that Zucks outspends the rest easily. He's pretty much the face of tech, and there are not too many people who wouldn't recognize him. There are likely a few people out there who bear a grudge against him too, after being given a timeout on his platform or believing that Facebook is somehow malign. Filings that Facebook made with the government told us that in 2018, a massive $7.3 million was being spent on his personal security. This included at his home and when he leaves the house. This amount works out to being about $20,000 a day to ensure Mr. Zuckerberg remains in one piece. And if you add travel costs and keeping him secure while he moves around the globe, the number is more like $22 million. We should say this means paying a team of bodyguards, but we imagine each member is still on top of this list. Even his right-hand woman, COO Sheryl Sandberg, has personal security that costs $1.1 million. Now, we're going to stick with the tantalizing topics of danger and staying safe and offer you these two great videos. Head over to What You Should Not Do If You're Stopped by a Cop and American Cops versus Canadian Cops.